Las Vegas. It's me, Raquel Lee. So, today's topic, and forgive me, y'all, I'm all types of exhausted. Hashtag 75, that would be why. This whole 75-day challenge thing. It's a big deal. It's good stuff. But anyway, today's topic is about something I talk about quite often, but unfortunately, a lot of people are dealing with the same issue. So if you read the description, you already know where I'm going with this. So let's get started. Saving yourself from a toxic relationship. Guys, look, I don't know if everybody has seen my video on it, but if you have not, I'm just going to give a very mild Reader's Digest version of just what it is that you're trying to avoid. When you're in a toxic relationship, there's a lot of ways to recognize that. I get asked a lot of times, what is it that helps you to know if you're in one? If you have to ask, you're in one. I mean, that's like the point blank answer. But as far as if you're really trying to recognize those signs in your relationship, well, start evaluating different things within your relationship. Do you guys have open communication? Do you argue a lot? What are you arguing about if you do argue a lot? Or if you're not talking, what are some of the things that you're not talking about? What are some of the things that bother you that your partner may or may not be aware of? What are some of the things that you've already expressed that you have a problem with, or vice versa, and have not been otherwise dealt with? There's a lot of different things that can contribute to realizing whether you're in a toxic relationship or not. It's all about what red flags are there to you. I can't say that there's like a set guideline of what red flags are. Just depends on, what you deem a deal breaker, what you place value on, and so on. So in speaking on whether or not you're in one, if you find that you are, the first thing you want to do is figure out whether you want to try and work through that or whether you want to otherwise let that relationship go, which is usually a better option. Sometimes we hold on to things much longer than we should, and you really shouldn't do that for too many reasons. But the biggest reason being, all it's going to do is get worse. And it's going to get worse before it gets better if you find yourself in a relationship with somebody that is willing to work with you on whatever changes need to take place within that relationship, if that makes sense. The last thing that you want happening is that you're in a relationship just because it's comfortable, just because it's familiar, just because you've been in it for X amount of time. You don't want to do that. Those aren't valid excuses to stay in a relationship that is ultimately making you unhappy. And that goes for either side of the coin. If you are in a relationship and say that you're the one, excuse me, and you're saying that you're the one that is, in most cases, cheating. If you're the one doing it, well, you obviously don't want to be in the relationship that you're in, so why are you still in it? And when you're on the other side of that coin, if somebody is actively cheating on you regularly to the point where you've had to have more than one conversation about it, then yeah, you shouldn't still be in that relationship. Case in point, my stupid ass. I like I said, if you want to know what video it is, I reference this video a lot because it's got most of the information in it, but it's probably the most in depth I've gone with that particular subject, and it is the Purge to 2020. Another example would be, I don't know, say you have gone through, I don't want to say that you fell out of love because I don't agree with that terminology. I more or less agree that you still have love for this person, you're just no longer in love in that way. I don't necessarily want to call it falling out of love. It just sounds so much worse than it actually is. On top of which, it can hurt more to say it that way to somebody when that's not truly what it means. people will usually take that as, oh, you have just no regard for me anymore. And that's not necessarily the case, because you can still have love for somebody and not be in love with them. So in a situation like that, it's, again, a personal realization. There's no special key word or key moment that you realize these things. It's something that you just come naturally to on your own. And if you come to that realization, it is now up to you to appeal to your partner's better nature in how you choose to deliver that information. The best way, of course, is to attack it head on. You don't want to, you want to rip off that Band-Aid. You don't want to just keep kind of going through the motions when you're not really into it. That's not fair to the person you're dealing with, nor to yourself. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry. It's all that water. I'm halfway through, again, I usually around this time, I'm halfway through my full gallon of water. So I'm almost done. It's so funny because somebody's parked next to me right now and my window's down. So I feel like they're totally going to think I'm crazy, but we're not going to worry about it because I don't really care. But anyway, you don't want to just continue going through the motions if in fact you're, no longer invested in that relationship. It's not fair. It's not necessary. And it would be so much easier to just cut ties. I mean, honestly, it makes more sense to let go instead of holding on, because in a metaphorical way, that's how you hurt yourself. All that holding you're doing, trying to hold on to that relationship, say it's a rope, you've got a lot of rope burn going down your hand while you holding on to something that you really just need to let go of. The sooner you let go of it, the less hurt is going to be for everybody involved. Because I'm not going to say it's always the case, but in a lot of cases, there's always one person in the relationship that cares more than the other. Like I said, not saying that that's a bad thing, but just somebody will care that extra mile and somebody won't. It's just a thing. Like I said, it's not like majority of relationships or anything like that. It's not like some mass statistic, but it is a thing. And, I say all that just to go back to what I'm initially, talking about. And you don't want to continue on when both of you are clearly unhappy. It's just not working out. And it's okay that it's not working out. There is obviously some form of disconnect that you cannot work through with that person. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if you're in a situation where the person won't accept that, along with the fact that they're also not willing to work with you, well, at that point, I'm not saying be belligerent, but it's time to be much more direct in either just packing up your stuff and leaving. If in fact you're living with each other, I just assume not everybody's doing that. Depending on, what age bracket you're in and what your personal beliefs are. But in my case, when it comes to relationship, I need to live with you before I decide what I'm going to do, because if you got habits I don't like, I want to know. That was very much my mentality before Wes and I got married. So just a little disclaimer. But if you're in a relationship where you don't do anything but fight all the time, you have no open communication, you can't seem to find a way to create open communication, on top of which the other person is unwilling to work with you to make things better for that situation, honey, it's time to go. It's absolutely time to go. And if they're not going to, quote unquote, let you go, because I do have friends that have partners that will stop them, like physically stop them from walking out the door because of the fact that they want to keep their relationship so bad. In the midst of an argument, cussing this person out and telling them everything that's wrong with them. That's not okay. In any form, male, female, binary, whatever you identify with, that behavior is not okay. And in those situations, okay, well, obviously I can't leave while you're here. So next time you leave to go to work, you leave to go to the store, whatever it is, trust and believe by the time you come back, I will not be here. And that's exactly how you have to be in those situations. Now, if we're talking more on a abusive level, there's a lot of things to consider, but overall, the answer is still the same. The only difference is obviously you need to get the authorities involved, because if there's, physical violence happening, you have to worry about that. And if you're too scared of what that person's going to do, it's about what you're accepting for yourself at that point. That means you're willing to continue on because you're so scared that this person's going to react, that you would rather continue dealing with that and being and feeling like, you're nothing, you're worthless, you're, huddled down into a corner, versus taking control of your own life. You're letting somebody else control that. And that's the last thing, again, that you want to do. You want to be in control of your own decisions, your own life, your own path at all times. And if you're in situations where it seems like somebody else is in control of that, it's time for you to take some time to yourself to really, again, self-evaluate, be self-aware, and decide what you truly want for yourself. Because nobody deserves to be in toxic relationships of any kind. So that's just my personal little blip of the day. I will say on another note that 75 challenge, I can see, it's only been, not even a full 48 hours, but I can see where it can become daunting to anybody that's doing it. But try to just take everything day by day. And I say that because I got super exhausted yesterday, and I didn't want to do my second workout at all. I mean, literally, I was laying down in bed, and I was just because I was just overwhelmingly tired from the day. And of course I had just eaten, so I was kind of full, but I forced myself to get up, and I felt so much better. And the same thing with today. I kind of slacked on doing everything in the morning like I did before. I've done my reading. I'm halfway through my bottle, and that's it. Of course, the eating kind of happens naturally. But as far as my progress picture and everything like that, I didn't do any of that. Yesterday, I worked out in the morning. I didn't do that. So today, we've made our breaks our 45-minute, because 50 minutes total is about how long of our breaks are. So we just spend all that time walking outside. So I'm pretty much done with that. And I'm oh my God, I'm sweating right now. I was cold 5 minutes ago. Jeez. But anyway, so we have done the outdoor portion, and which makes it kind of easy because we kind of do that every day, but we're trying to go the extra mile to make it a additional thing we do outside of work. So I do have to do my progress picture, and then of course I have to, progress picture and the other workout. I'm going to try and just do an additional one anyway, just because I kind of want to start trying to run more. I kind of fell off again, so I'm always working with my asthma, but that's just the little things that I'm doing. So if you're doing it, don't forget, I put all the rules down in the description below, and until next time, inspire daily, empower daily. Repeat that process once a day, every day, and I will see you guys in the next video.